Hey guys, it's Emma, and today I'm going to be answering some questions that I have received on DMs and Instagram stories and emails, and I've kind of condensed some or picked ones that are really common that I've seen several times. Okay, so I am going to go through a couple of different questions, and if you like this, please send me more questions because I often struggle to come up with content ideas. I feel like everything's already been said or it's just been done a million times, and so I don't want to redo it. But if you have a question and I can answer your question, that would be really great. So first question is, how do I fix a spot that I get wrong every single time I play it? So I really like this question. What I think they're referring to is when you're practicing a piece or preparing a piece and you always get to that one spot and you always get it wrong. This happens to me more than I'd like to admit. I actually think it's a really common problem, and how I've dealt with it has been where I've learnt about neuroscience and how the brain works. So if you have a spot that you come to and you are thinking before you get there, I always make a mistake there, and then you get there and you make a mistake and you go, see, I always make a mistake there, you're actually creating kind of a channel in your brain that associates that spot with the wrong thing. So you might have heard teachers say, practice makes perfect or practice makes permanent. Yeah, practice makes permanent is far more accurate, because if you're always reinforcing, one, the thought that you will make a mistake there, two, you keep making the mistake there, and three, afterwards you reinforce, oh, see, it happens, I always make a mistake there, you're doing yourself a disservice and you're actually making it harder to correct the error. So what you need to do is find ways to play that spot, whether it's a wrong note or a wrong rhythm or wrong counting, whatever it is, you need to find ways to play it correctly as many times as physically possible. So I actually condense it down to as small a section as possible. Now that might be the specific bar where you make the mistake. It might be the specific 2 or 3 notes. It can be a really, really small amount. If it was a wrong note, it could even just be selecting that note. Once you've got your little isolated small segment, what you're going to do is you're going to do my rule of 5. Now my students absolutely hate this rule. I'm thinking of one student in particular who is a lovely young saxophonist who he always gets so frustrated in his lessons when I bring up rule of 5, but it is so successful. You play something 5 times in a row correctly. If you make a mistake, you go back to 0. So that means if you play something and you play it correct, you make a mistake on the 3rd attempt, back to 0. Try it again, correct, you get it 4th, you make a mistake on the 4th time, back to 0. And what you're aiming for, 5 times in a row accurately, and as long as that takes, it takes. Now, that's kind of why you need to narrow down to a small section, because if you said, I'm going to play an entire piece 5 times in a row correctly, that's not the point here. We're isolating a specific little segment, this spot that you always get wrong, and we're getting it right 5 times in a row, however many attempts it takes to get 5 times in a row. You're going to do that 5 times. So this might be your whole practice session, but if you keep getting this segment wrong in your piece, isn't it worth getting it right, fixing it for good? That's what I think. So 5 times in a row, 5 times. That might take you a lot on the first attempt, but the next time you try 5 by 5, it's probably going to take less time, and so on and so forth. When you think you've really got it, you are just able to smash out those 5 times in a row, you are playing that bar correctly, you're playing that spot correctly, I want you to add a bar. Maybe you might add the bar before and do the rule of 5. When you've got that correct, maybe add the bar after. So now you've got 3 bars total. Do the rule of 5 on those 3 bars. You are training yourself in a very specific and deliberate way to learn that section accurately. Is it time consuming? 100%, it is time consuming. but you have already spent time learning it incorrectly. So it's not that you just need to learn it correctly, you need to erase the habit. You need to erase that mental thought process that has been created around that section. I always get it wrong, I always get it wrong, I always get it wrong. You're erasing that and replacing it using the rule of 5 to get it accurate. I really recommend this methodology for students starting out with altissimo. If you are not feeling super confident with your altissimo, I definitely recommend building these confidences into your playing and making sure that you are going, I'm gonna get that note before you even get there. It is in your head, I'm gonna get that altissimo note, it is going to speak, and you are thinking that before you get there, and you truly feel it because you've practiced it over and repetitively, and you've done the rule of 5, and you've added a bar before and done the rule of 5, and you've added the bar after and you've done the rule of 5, and you've used these repetitive processes to train yourself to know, really deep down know that you are going to get that note to come out. That tricky spot is not a tricky spot for you anymore. Try the rule of 5, see how frustrating it gets. I'm not gonna lie, I get frustrated doing rule of 5. It is a tricky process, but it is worthwhile, and it is exactly what you need when you have those stubborn moments that you just play that rhythm wrong, that note wrong, that altissimo note squeaks instead of coming out beautifully. This is what you need.